Contrast uncut, yeah, you know that's us. Where we only speak the real and the real rock with us. Where we motivate the people and politic on success. Oh no, we ain't DJ Khaled, but they swearing we the best. Contrast uncut, contrast uncut, contrast uncut, contrast uncut.
What's happening? It's Contrast Uncut, Season 3, Episode 19. Man, big shout outs to Uncle Snoop's Army and Bobby D Presents. I appreciate you, brothers. It's your host, DJ Juan Dollars, like I won some money, aka Zylo. Ladies and gentlemen, today we have a very, very special guest. I mean, we got a dope, true entrepreneur. I mean, you've seen his work on TV, sports arenas, commercials, the radio, your favorite playlists. I mean, you could hear his music, his work over the past 15 years. I mean, he hit the scene strong. I mean, I'm talking about a super producer, a DJ, songwriter, music industry executive. I mean, he's a co-founder of Generation Now. I mean, we all know that because it's the home of Lil Uzi Vert, Jack Harlow, DJ Drama, helped co-found it. I mean, just to name a few, also co-founded the Aphilliates Music Group, being the director of my favorite show on Friday nights, the Aphilliates Streets is Watching on Shade 4-5. Not to mention, he's produced arguably for the greatest artists of our generations. I mean, if you don't know who I'm talking about, I hope you get the drift now, because I'm about to tell you, it's a cannon. Don Cannon's in the building. What's happening, brother?
What's popping? What's going on?
Oh man, I can't call it, man. I'm blessed. Can't complain.
That was quite the introduction, man. I appreciate that.
Now that's big. That's big. You're big time. So you approve of that, man. Let me go and stick my chest out now. Shit,
that was a good one, buddy.
Yeah, bro. So, bro, how you doing, bro? How everything been going during the quarantine? What you been exercising?
Oh man, everything's been good. I ain't gonna lie. I took this time out. I remember the day it started. I said, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna take my time to get a lot of things back into play and purpose of my life, which is health, eating well, exercising well, just learning to be back in a basement standpoint where I used to be in the basement cooking up every day. You know what I mean? When you outside in the world, you got meetings, people call on you. They call me the sensei. So I got a lot of, conversations that I have to have with a lot of people. People depend on me, that takes a lot of the time. But, sometimes I wanted to get back to the world of just being creative and, in my own little space. And, I just wanted to say that I'm not going to take any day within quarantine for granted. And that's what I've been doing, man. I've been studying, learning things and, about myself and other people,
Salute, bruh. I mean, iron sharpens iron. And right now you like, man, I'm sharpening everything I can.
Word.
No, I respect it, brother. I got this quote, man. Let me know how it relates to you, or if it doesn't, it's all good. It's Contrast Uncut. You ain't gonna hurt my feelings.
Word.
Adversity builds character, and character takes you to places money can't. T.I. Tip.
Definitely relatable. Adversity, I've went through it all. I mean, I've told this story to a few people before. Coming to Atlanta from Philadelphia was a big thing to do because at the time, Atlanta was building a voice. 1995 when Andre and them got on stage and said the South has something to say, I really felt like he wanted to say Atlanta has something to say. You know what I mean? And I came down 1997, 98, which was 2 years after them building. As soon as they did that and went back home from New York, Atlanta became a mecca of hip hop. It kind of built people that was afraid to. I want to say they were afraid, but they just didn't have the oomph to say we was from Atlanta. It wasn't the most popular thing to say at that time, but they knew it in the city. But going out towards other states and cities, that was the first time that they was really making names for themselves. When I came down here, it was just starting. They was, Pastor Troy was here. He was pushing out the No More Playing GA as people coming to Atlanta. So I think when we first came here, our first trial, well, Drum was here in 96, but when I came, my first trial was being from somewhere else, living in Atlanta, trying to pursue music dreams in Atlanta, just fresh off of all the things they doing with Little John and all that. You know, a lot of the artists embraced us, but it was just definitely hard on a community to accept us as DJs and producers, and just people coming into the city and trying to take over. And that's definitely what we weren't trying to do. We was trying to add to the culture. And sometimes it got a little confusing because, you know, Goody Mob had a record out, If You Don't Like the A, Fly Away. You know, a lot of that shit was just moving on. Atlanta was just, you know, they was growing. And, you know, that we fought through all that, and it built us character. You know, it wound us not leaving and going back to Philly or New York or Cali, wherever we stayed in Atlanta and thugged it out. And, you know, they accepted us, and we built a home here, you know what I mean?
Right, facts. I mean, the history's there.
Yeah, for sure.
Historical sounds. And I mean, a lot of people, I mean, you take Zaytoven, moved to Atlanta and definitely put in away from being from the Bay Area. Yeah. And I mean, you got a lot of people like that definitely transform their sounds by enhancing it in the culture. And Atlanta is definitely the Mecca, and it's definitely the turning point of your career if you want to take it somewhere.
Right.
And I mean, you guys definitely enhance that opportunity, and that's the adversity that's built from your guys' character of going through all of that.
That's right. That's right.
So as we talking about your career, we're talking about it. I gotta ask you. I ask all my guests this question. I'm talking about music. Did the game choose you, or did you choose the game?
The game chose me. I mean, I have a unique story. Started when I was 5 years old, DJing. I got my first equipment when I was 3. It was passed down by my uncle, which is my mom's sister's husband. He was one of the famous DJs in Philadelphia. One of the things they were trying to do was stop me from crying when I was a baby. The only thing that would stop me from crying was music. So he took his initiative to give me a crate of record. I think the first record I had was Jackson 5, Can You Feel It? It was a record with their picture on the actual vinyl and like a little Sony, my first turntable. And, you know, they would just play that and I would not cry, nothing. I would just sit there and stare. So as I moved on to 5 years old, I did like my first mini party, you know what I mean? At my aunt's wedding, I was just playing records. And then when I moved to 8, 9, 10 years old, I was rapping and making beats at the same time with these things called pause tapes, where you take a tape and you sample something onto a tape, pause it, go back, sample it, and loop it for hours until you got 3 minutes perfectly of a beat. And then I would put it in the karaoke machine and rap on it. And that was, you know, that was just my makeup, you know what I mean? My makeup from when I was a kid. I grew up to getting samplers. My mom bought me a mixer with a sampler on it. It was like 12 seconds, so I got into that. But yeah, man, I was born into it. I don't think necessarily it was something like, oh, I want to do. Like even now, it's not something I want to do. I have to do it because it's in me. It's like when I'm frustrated, that's what I do. When I'm happy, that's what I do. When I think about things, it's what I do. It's just like I was telling you before, you know, I came down here and I was just looking at, you know, it was raining outside. I just turned on the turntables and just got the mixing and got lost in it and forgot I had stuff to do. I'm just, you know, people call me like, hey, you still, you know, and you want to do it? And I'm like, oh shit, I'm tripping. I got lost in time. You know what I mean? So I think it's more of the game choosing me more than me, you know, jumping and saying, yo, I wanted to do this and I made it happen. It's just there. It's like brushing teeth, you know?
Dang, he said it's functional like brushing teeth. You learned that at such a young age. As soon as them I'm in here. Bruh, so let me ask you this. What was your first confirmation that, you know, that the music is for you? Because I know you said you started young, you're DJing parties at such a young age, you rapping and producing yourself at 9, 8. I mean, what was your first confirmation that, you know, that you shouldn't have to do anything else in this life other than music?
Confirmation was tough because I went to Clark and the whole time I never did no schoolwork. You know, I just was down here doing music. It wasn't planned, you know what I mean? I was doing all the parties in the cafeteria, on a promenade, in the dorms. We'd be playing basketball, I'd be playing the music out the window. And it was tough because it was a gift and a curse. Being there helped me learn other region musics. You know what I'm saying? So I had a dude down a hallway from West Coast that played all the West Coast. And then I would battle him with the up north shit. And then my man from Minnesota, Chicago, they'd come play, you know, some. And then, you know, my first ill conversation was one of these guys that was in the hallway. It was, I forget his name, but he told me that E40 was better than Biggie. And I almost had a fucking heart attack. So we did a battle back and forth. He played E40 shit, I played Biggie shit, and it was just like a big, everybody came out their dorms from the third floor, first floor, to come to second floor to see what all the commotion was about. And we went back and forth and back and forth. It almost got the blows, but you know, we really, you know, that set it off because it made me understand that people really was feeling different regions. So I'm like, oh, I need to mix my region with South and the Midwest and the West Coast in order for people to get it. And as I moved in from that conversation, moving into like the early 2000s, I was still, you know, putting in my 10,000 hours. Me and John was working on some stuff, doing mixtapes for all the people. And, you know, one of the first, you know, sustainable mixtapes that we had was Streets is Watching with Jeezy. You know, we had did T.I. already. We did Paul Wall, Lil Scrappy, Killer Mike. We did all those first, but the Down with the King mixtape T.I. had right before Streets is Watching, I had this Go Crazy beat, and I had gave it to Tip. He freestyled on it. He didn't do too much. I was like, man, I'm not happy with this. I know this beat can do more. We wound up giving it, Jeezy wound up asking us at a party who did the beat. And I said, me, I gave it to him. And I still didn't think nothing about it until he rapped, because it was like people were already rapping on my beats by then. I had like little groups doing stuff, and I just was like, oh, okay, yeah. We're moving. And one day, him and his coach had stopped me. I mean, him and his manager coach stopped me. That's from QC now, and it was like, yo, we got something special. And I was like, what's special? They wouldn't tell me. So I waited a little bit. They come by. I had a little apartment there. Everybody would come by and record. Everybody from Raekwon to Freeway to Jeezy. Everybody came to this apartment. It just was where we was at. And he played the Jay-Z verse. And in that very moment, I was like, okay, I made it. I know what to do now. You know what I'm saying? And that was my confirmation, because I was still hurt. We were making some money, you know, doing mixtapes and parties, but that one was like,
that was the moment.
Because Jay-Z put 64 bars on it. And it was a different situation because, you know, I believed in Jay-Z since 1996. Everybody was Nas, Big, Mob. I like them as well, but I was like, he's going to be the one. Everybody's, man, he's tripping. He's just a regular, you know, hustler. He ain't going to be nothing. And to see years later when he was going crazy to be on my first beat out, I was like, oh, this is crazy. You know what I mean? So that was confirmation. And then my second confirmation after that was having over 100, maybe 100 to 200 of the artists I wanted to work with on that beat before I got to work with them. So those was my confirmation, like, okay, I did something. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So let me ask you this. What was some of the highs and lows through the process? I mean, from that point to, you know, to the, I mean, I'm going to say, you a made man, bro, when it comes to this game. Like, you know, you definitely paved the way for, you know, for a legacy to already be there. And so when I say made man, I'm like, that's you when it comes to this hip hop game. And so my perspective is like, what were some of the highs and lows to that transition from confirmation right there, working with Jay-Z, to the next turn you're battling tomorrow?
So moving from there, solidified some of the stuff I had going on. So one was I had record labels and publishing companies throwing money at me because of that record. At that time, Jay-Z being on your record was unheard of. You know, if you weren't on his album, like, you know, he wasn't doing a whole bunch of features for younger artists. And this was like, why is Jeezy so special? You know what I'm saying? And it was like, wow, who did the beat? That's amazing. So then, you know, I had everybody at the doorstep, kind of like, you know, LeBron James going to, you know, what team he's going to. Everybody's like, who's going to pick him? You know what I'm saying? So I was doing all of that. And then this guy reached out from Atlantic Records. I forget his name, but I'm sorry, I forget this guy's name. But he started the wheelbarrow downhill for me. Like, oh, okay, it's gone. He's like, hey man, I want you to come to Miami and work with Trick Daddy. I'm like, damn, I'm coming off a record with Jay-Z to work with another legend. Oh shit, you know what I'm saying? So I go down to Atlanta. When I get there, Fiend is in the room. I don't know if anybody knows about Fiend, but Fiend runs with Currency right now. But he's been a rapper for a minute in the South doing numbers, and he's also been like one of the heaviest writers out. And he was in there. He was like, "Yo, you know, Trick ain't coming till later on. We should just cook up till he get here." So I cooked up, and I couldn't figure out the ideas of where I wanted to go with Trick Daddy because it's like, man, I'm coming with this up north sound, but you know, at that time he was working with Stargate. It was a whole bunch of people down there just giving them. I remember he had a record with Madonna, and I was like, holy shit, what am I gonna do? So the first thing I did was think about what are the bass hits in Miami that I could flip on some East Coast shit, and I flipped, you know, Come On Ride This Train is what I thought about. And I was like, you know, me as I always do the research before that. It's like, yo, have they sampled something? You know, so I went to the record that they actually sampled and found other parts in that record. Isaac Hayes, Barry White, Together Brothers. And I took different pieces of that record from the minute to all the way up to 6 or 7 minutes to make this record. And it was actually a mistake. I was actually doing different chops while it was recording. And it went on beat, right? And I was like, oh shit, it was panning, it was phasing, it was doing all this extra shit. And I was like, oh shit, I done did something. But I was like, man, I might have to take this home with me. Ain't nobody gonna understand this beat, right? So Fiend heard it. I think he was in the lobby. He came in, he was listening. He was like, oh, I got something for that. I was like, word? You from the South? Okay, he goes in the booth. He's like, yo, something with the AK, and it's the cannon, you know, with the M. He was doing a flow, and I was like, oh shit, he did something. You know what I mean? So Trick Daddy finally came, you know, he listened to it, he wasn't really into it, it wasn't his speed. He liked the beat, but he was like, yeah, let's try something else. I tried something else. It was like, you know, some old Scarface type shit. We wound up doing that. The experience was good. I wound up getting back home. So I was telling Drum how he was like, yo, where you been at? I was like, I went to Miami to work with Trick Daddy or whatever. He's like, damn. He's like, yeah, I ain't telling nobody. I was like, man, it was like some spur of the moment, in and out. You know what I mean? We just slid down. So when I came back home, he's like, what you do? He recorded anything? I said, no, but I did this record with Fiend. It was crazy. So I played him the record. He was like, damn, that's crazy. We need to like get us to somebody. We gave it to Busta. Busta did the first hook. He did, because the Cannon drop was on there. He did the Cherish Cannon. And I was like, oh shit. And he was the first one on it. We put it on his mixtape, right? So John was about to do an album with Atlantic. I was like, yo, I want to put this on my album, but I gotta get some more people on it, right? So his first thought process when he was working with Wayne, he went to Miami. He's like, yo, we need to get one in, like a mixtape, you know? And he wound up giving him that beat. I think he gave the shit back to Drum in like a couple hours. Like Wayne is like point blank, one of the illest to work with. Like he's like this, no problem, no bullshit, no bitching. If you don't get your shit back in a day, he ain't want to do it. You know what I'm saying? So he wound up doing a whole verse, like the whole song all the way through with a hook and everything. It was 3 minutes long. And he sent it back. We was going crazy over it. You know what I mean? And I wound up doctoring it up. But, you know, that Trick Daddy trip started the whole onslaught of me doing records. After that, and the Wayne record came out, then Fab came, then Kiss came, then Jay-Z came back around, but I wound up giving it to Swiss for Casty. And then I did Jeezy. We went for another one with Mr. 17.5. It just started going like this. It started clicking. I was doing records everywhere. I had records in Japan. I had records with, you know, everybody from here picking up, everybody up here. So, you know, it was just a movement. You know, the Trick Daddy trip really started the whole flow. You know, even though Jay-Z tipped it off, it was just, you know what I mean?
So through all of that, your highs would you say your highs would be knowing that your music is getting fucked with these major artists and it's being received in the same way that you put it out?
Yes, definitely the high point.
And then, so what are some of the lows? Because I know you briefly talked about how great Wayne is with getting shit right back. But I know personally being an A&R and waiting for shit to come back from superstars, you on their time, and their time don't matter to shit to what we got going on.
Yeah, that's true. It's crazy because I was so hot at that point that it felt like people were showing off. Like, man, I'm gonna kill that beat before you give it to, because everybody thought I had the Jay-Z plug. So everybody was like, oh, I'm gonna kill it. You ain't gotta give it to Jay. Let me get this now. They was just picking anything. You know what I'm saying? Because I just had joints, and it was like, yo, let me get that. I need that. Don't give it to Jay. Don't give it to Wayne. So, you know, that some of the downsides of everything was, you know, what everybody is me doing it for love before getting a big check. You know, I was paying my bills. I was living. A lot of people quit after not getting a big check after doing something that big. But me, I was still working regardless. I was going to do it broke or rich. It's just something I love to do. I just love to create. I lost a lot of friends. That was another downside because I didn't have time to play live and 2K and go to parties and do the things that, you know, they wanted me to do. So a lot of the people that weren't running alongside of me doing music, I lost a lot of them in the process. Some of the artists that were on a local level, I lost relationships with them over that because it was just, I was always gone, just doing stuff. Yeah, I mean, everything else was cool. I remember just knowing, you know, people coming to the crib and working just put a lot of people at danger in the neighborhood because it was like, yo, here comes another rapper coming in there and another rapper. You know what I'm saying? You know, it just started. We just had, me and Drum and Sense, my other partner, Trendsetter, we just had a whole onslaught of shit going on. And, you know, it's a lot of stuff that was going on. We had a raid on the mixtapes, which was a big misunderstanding with the RIAA, not knowing what we actually do. We actually work with artists. They thought we were bootlegging albums and putting new covers on them. So when we finally got that straight, you know, me and Drum had lost everything at that point and didn't know if we were ever going to make it back into a good space. You know what I'm saying? And we wound up making it back into a good space.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's so crazy because the real was like pretty much, man, we trying to validate y'all, but it ain't making sense. And
right.
Y'all was like, no, we really curating all of this. We're putting all this new wave out. You got to catch up.
Yeah, man, shit. I mean, I ain't gonna lie, I'm bad with names. This kid that was an intern at the RIAA was interning for the person that was prosecuting. And he did this whole fucking presentation on what we really do and convinced the person he was interning for to really come talk to us like, hey man, the intern really told us what you guys really do. You know what I mean? And he really saved a lot. I don't know who he is, but he really like kind of got them to understand what we really do. And that, you know, that was another good thing, you know, being done.
So, bro, with all your experience, you know, from your perspective, is it better to break an artist that's under you or break your record with a greater artist, a big artist, you know, some of the biggest artists on the planet? Where do you get the bigger high at or the greater joy?
The greater joy I get is breaking new artists. We built our career on breaking new artists. We got handicapped because some of the artists that we broke rose so fast. You know, T.I. rose fast, you know, Scrappy rose fast, Jeezy, Gotti, Plies, Slim Thug, Paul Wall, David Banner. You know what I mean? The list goes on. You know what I'm saying? Even, you know, not to take all the credit for Wayne. Wayne nobody was really respecting him outside the UNLV, Young Money type swag, mixtapes he was doing. Dedication gave him a whole lifeline. You know what I mean? Past what people, you know, it was a respect thing. It was like people knew, okay, that's Wayne, yeah, he's 18, he got some bars, but then Dedication really gave him like a backpack to say, no, I'm for real. You know what I mean? Just all those artists, just breaking those artists, I just couldn't really stand against going to see Chris Brown and be like, yo, here go a record and making it big like that, because people have came before me and did that. Sean Garrett did that. Joel Santana did that. You know, we were working with that, so we needed to keep it in that pocket. I didn't want to go sign somebody that was already hot. Let's find somebody new and just build it, because it's building from the ground up. So you plant the soils, the seeds, you water it every day. It's just you watching it, and as you're watching that grow, you just get a different feeling than just walking up to a tree that's already there and just putting some new soil on it. You know what I'm saying? Right. So that's the greater joy. I think us as a team have fun bringing things, you know, that are new. You know, and it's not always the easiest thing, but it's the best thing, you know, for us.
You brought up a great thing, the garden. And, you know, a lot of time people get it mixed up that, you know, that they spend too much time watering other people's gardens without watering their own. And so, you know, my question to you is that you've been able to multitask and be successful at it. So what is the secret? What is your balance of keeping everything so well tightened and oiled up and running the way it does?
Pure intentions, you know? We do stuff off pure intention, you know what I'm saying? Just to bring new things to light all the time. It don't have to be artists all the time. It could be a lawyer. It could be just an idea in general, and just keeping your heart pure. I think that's been the key to all the success, is staying pure and following what God is laying in front of you. You know what I mean? A lot of people get off track and do some things, but, you know, I follow that strictly. You know what I mean? And, you know, it's not even I'm trying to be pure. It's just in us to be them people. You know what I mean?
When you genuine and you have real relationships with people and you do as you say as you do, there's a thing called longevity that occurs. And, Absolutely. You know, you definitely have the recipe, the blueprint, and shit. At this point, you're creating your own.
Yeah, for sure.
Bro, I ain't gonna lie to you. I can talk to you all day about music. I can talk to you about song for song. I'm gonna put a pause to it because I want to get to my other segments so that, you know, the listeners, they can have a different perspective of, you know, what the show's all about. And, you know, I have my next thing. It's pretty much awareness, and my awareness segment is about police interaction. And my thing is that, you know, I want to know about the last time you were pulled over. You know, the last time the red and blue lights hit, that high beam hits the back of your neck, because everyone's, you know, not invincible to it. And, you know, the whole point of this segment is to bring awareness and to help a youngster know what to do in the situation. And if you can give some advice to one, you know, hit me with it so they can hear it from one of their favorite producers, entrepreneurs in the game.
Where, first and foremost, being from Philly, one of the Pennsylvania in itself is one of the biggest prejudice and racist states, you know. And my first pullover was at 14 years old. I was joyriding in my mom's car. They took me back to my mom's crib, but the way they handle things in Philadelphia, it's just bad, man. You know what I mean? 17, I got pulled over. 19, I got pulled over. When I moved to Atlanta, I got pulled over, but I got a call in around 2002. I have two other, I have a cousin Keith and a cousin Phil that's no longer here, but my cousin Keith, they're like brothers. We don't move without each other. You know what I mean? When I left to Atlanta, Keith and Phil were still up there, but we're connected. We don't, to the point where I got different wings in my crib, and my brother Keith still lives with me to this day. It's my mom's sister's son, and then my other mom's sister's son was Phil. At 2002-03, Phil was coming home from a party. He went to a payphone to call his mom to pick him up, and the cops pulled up on him and told him to freeze and put his hands up. He put his hands up. He had his wallet in his hand, and they killed him. So that right there alone, just losing like your left arm of a person, feels crazy. You hear what I'm saying? That, you know, you have to deal with that, and they didn't even take the proper steps. He wasn't involved in nothing. Neighbors saw the whole thing. By that time, I think at that time we didn't even have no camera system going on. You know, 2007 2007 January, that's when the raid happened. And when the raid happened, we didn't know why it was happening because all we were doing in music. We weren't doing anything illegal. We didn't have any drugs, guns, you know, they smashed our whole studio looking for, they always say, you know, and was in the department, they were saying, if you find rappers, they're always close to guns, drugs, and all that. And when they said that, it was like, damn, they really look at us in a certain way, you know what I mean? And, you know, from that point on, I've really built up an anxiety with PTSD with police in general and law and authority. Some days I woke up cold sweats, just, you know, paranoid looking out the window. And it's like, people was like, why are you scared? You didn't do nothing wrong, but you didn't go through the stuff I had to go through. You know what I mean? So I will always, you know, just keep one eye open for it. I ain't gonna lie, about a month ago I got pulled over just going to the grocery store from quarantine, and they said my tags would expire. My tags was nowhere near expired. My birthday's in August. They ran through the stuff, made a mistake, made me get out the car and everything. And you know, one thing I do when I get pulled over, I either call my fiance or I call my mom or Keith. There's only 3 people got to be on the phone with me when I get pulled over. I've got pulled over a lot of times and searched the car for no reason, you know, maybe a wrong turn. But I myself, speaking to the kids, I have a different step because one, I'm 6'6", 260. When they look at my license, that's automatically a threat. Oh, this is a big guy. You know what I mean? A big black guy. You know what I'm saying? So that's already a threat. It's already get out the car. Let's detain it before it can be anything. Without even just saying, yo, hey man. You know what I mean? It's always get out the car first. You know what I mean? So I have that going against me. Also the stigma of being an artist or just unknown in the city. The first thing they do is they go to a car and type in your name in Google and see what comes up. They're going to see Facebook. They're going to see, the Twitter, your Instagram, your following. So, I mean, out there, you know, it's getting worse. And, you know, I was telling my fiance that I lived at 11 years old. I watched Rodney King. I watched the Looters. I watched Ice-T make a song called Cop Killer. She never really understood this growing up in the South, you know, a clean family. She didn't have to go through as much. And for years, she just couldn't figure out what was my issue with authority until these past couple of years, she's starting to see things and saying, yo, this is serious. And now she's like knee deep in all this shit, just trying to figure out why it's happening, how to be prepared for it. And I think every kid out there should know that it's not about being in a macho state or a man state, and it's about knowing in your mind what's a violation and what's not. Sometimes you have a violation to where you can finesse yourself out of it. You know, cops deal with energy, law enforcement deal with energy. A lot of the times it's in your dialect and how you make things happen could save you that day. You know what I'm saying? Ahmaud Arbery, super different situation in the country of Georgia. Running, it was nothing he could do. You know what I mean? Him, if he laid on the ground, they would have killed him. If he fought for his life, they would have killed him. It was nothing he could have did. You know what I mean? It was just, I think, and as bad as I feel bad for his mom, it's just a fork in the road that's he had to be a martyr for the situation of the world to get better. Right now it's crooked. People are telling me, yeah, it's only the white cops. It's not only the white cops. It's anybody with a badge, belt, flashlight, mace. All of these people either went in to law enforcement because they're scared or just don't want to be on that side of the fence. And I still hold that, all cops are bad to me. I have cops in my family. I have a sister that is married to a detective, and I always pray for her that she doesn't have to get that call in the middle of the night. But, in order for this to stop, it has to be a system set up with these cops and law enforcement where we get better and we form like some type of unity, or it's going to get into a place where Ice-T was taking it into cop killer. And it's always going to take two cops to get killed in that situation for people like, oh shit, they aiming at our heads now, we got to do something. I don't want it to get to that point. You know what I'm saying? So, but it's getting to that point. It's turning into the rapture, bro. The stuff I'm seeing every day, like they chasing down dudes that's running from the police in a high-speed chase. It's 12 of y'all versus one. If he has a gun, he's not going to kill everybody. Y'all got to detain him and figure it out. Y'all just can't shoot him down. It's the better judgment of the cops,
No, in Indianapolis, they shot him in his back when he was running.
You see what I'm saying? And it's getting out of hand. Yeah, it's getting out of hand. And I just feel bad because we're the ones being attacked. You know what I mean? We're the ones being attacked. And, I tell other people this too. It's going to be crazy if it has to be an all-out war versus the law enforcement, because they think it's only going to be black people. It's going to be Mexicans, Puerto Ricans. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be Indians, blacks. We all going to be fighting against one race. It's going to get ill. You know what I mean? So that's what they think is going to happen. It's going to be a lot of white people that want to fight because they just don't understand what the law is doing. And I just think that a lot of people they're in there, like, think about something on the light side. Police Academy, I don't know how old you are. That movie, they had about 7 of them, 6 of them, right? They went through like hazing so many fucking levels to become this cop till they got to the graduation. And I feel like, on the sad side, I think they just give them the diploma. Like, yeah, get out in the street. You come from that neighborhood, you know how to deal with it. And then they get scared and they got to do what they got to do. You know what I'm saying? And it's just an ugly space, man. I hate it. It's one of the most talked about topics I speak on every day. I leave this house every day, not thinking that I'm not going to come home, but I just think like, man, why is it like this? You know what I mean? Why do I feel anxiety to leave my house or ride down the street? I get tense when cops are around, and I shouldn't be like that,
No, it's facts. Like, we have this whole permission in our head that control what we can control and let go of everything else, but we can't even control a situation of interacting with them. And
right.
The reason why I add this, to my platform is that, one, I've had situations where I didn't know how to interact with them, and making the right decision, the right choice, you say the right thing and you're out the situation. And so awareness is the number one thing that I wanted to bring to this, and I call it the awareness segment because everything that you mentioned, it brings a light to things that they're not thinking. Like, they don't realize that this much weight is already bared on people's shoulders. And so
I give you an example, not to cut you off. I was in Whole Foods. I think this was during the quarantine. I had my mask on. Again, I have a big stature. So there's 2 cops, 2 white cops. They were in another lane. There was a guy around my stature. He's probably about 6'6". More, he was a little bit more heavy. He's probably about 280, 90, big guy, big shoulders. So as he's walking past the cart, he looks at me, he looks at his home, he says, the other cop, he says, I think I can take him, right? Right then and there, had I not known how to finesse and think about it before I speak, I could have said, what the fuck y'all mean? And that would have went into a whole nother space. So my first reaction was, I'm gonna test the temperature. I said, oh, so if we grab a football, we can go at it. He laughed. He was like, yeah, I don't think I can catch you with a football. I said, yeah, you probably can, but listen, I'm old too. That disposed the whole thing. You know what I'm saying? They walked on, but I kind of felt he was playing a line between sports and the other side, but I tested the gangster on football. I was like, hey, grab a football, shit. We can see. He's like, hey, I don't know if I can catch you, man. I don't know if I can do that. And, that's where I had to distinguish the line because, I could have went left and been on the ground, maybe choked to death, could have been something.
No, you definitely handled that right. And you made a joke out of it, knowing that there was going to be a sucker at the end. Well played, well played, well played. Man, but bruh, I'm not going to spend too much more time on this, I have this next segment. It's all about having fun going downhill from here, man. This one's going to make you think a little bit because that's the whole idea, but it's to have fun. And the name of my next segment is Trading Places. And it's just like that Dan Aykroyd, Eddie Murphy movie Mortimer. And, you know, I take two iconic lies and we switch them. And, you know, question number one is will it work? Question number one is will it work? Question number two is what would life be like if they traded places? Okay. And so for you, I got Madonna trading places with Mariah Carey.
Madonna no man, no bro. It ain't gonna work. I'm gonna tell you one thing. You talking about stardom or music?
Everything.
Okay, so if we talking music, there's two different voices. You have one that's just an iconic speaking voice, and then you have one that's just an outright incredible voice. You know what I'm saying? So with Mariah having that voice of the iconic side, I don't think it would work for the simple fact that a lot of women and Black women have hard time proving themselves. And I think just being mediocre, I feel like that wouldn't set it off in a proper way. Now, Madonna having Mariah Carey's voice and being in that space, they had to put the whole planet behind it and made it the best singer in the world. That's just how I see it. You know what I mean? It's a privilege there. Stardom, I didn't see it. I couldn't see it with Mariah having a small voice. And I definitely would see it with Madonna. But yeah, that's my stand, my take on that.
My one question to you is, do you think Madonna could have survived the perseverance that Mariah Carey had to face through because she was culturally mixed and she was trying to prove herself?
It's a really tough question, only because Madonna, from what I've seen, was very involved in different communities. She loved Blacks. She's dealt with some Mexicanos, you know what I mean? She's dealt with a lot of different spaces to where I didn't feel like it would be hard for her to get into a good space. Like, you know, and what I mean by communities, not only color, but she loved Tupac music. You know what I'm saying? Dennis Rodman was far out. You know what I'm saying? Just the different people she hanged with, she loved people for different reasons. It wasn't exactly the color. It was like, I'm pretty sure she loved the conviction of Tupac that made something do something to her. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with Dennis Rodman. So I don't think that she would have had no problem, but you know, she definitely would have had the privilege of being one of the best singers ever instead of cultural icons.
That's so powerful. Because you had me thinking about so many different things right there. Because
yeah.
Wow, because you know, in the hearts, they're not the same. They couldn't be in each other's body. Their heart would not beat the same as in each other's bodies, because you know, just history. We ain't gonna go digging and throwing dirt, right. But just history. Wow, no, you hit me in the face with that one. I was like, I thought it could. No, you're right. Fuck my head up.
Yeah.
So, man, I got this next segment. It's called Impulse Q&A. The whole idea is, you know, have impulse questions, impulse answers. They're questions on cards. And so, you know, you can pass on it, but the whole idea is you got to answer 3 questions.
Okay.
Question number 1. What's the funniest thing you've seen a kid do?
Oh, shit. How fast I got to answer?
Whatever comes to your mind, bruh.
Funniest thing a kid did. That's a tough one. I might have to pass on that one. That's a tough one because I did some crazy shit as a kid. Okay, I'll give you one. I rolled up oregano on my dad's top paper and tried to smoke it like it was a blunt, but it never burnt. When I was like 11. And that's some crazy shit I did.
Fair enough. All right, fun story. Myself, I always turned down everybody to smoke cigarettes, but once I knew it was a joint and, you know, Bob Marley, Tupac, everybody was always on my mind, I was like, that's a joint. It was really a cigarette, and I smoked it.
Oh, shit. That's
Did not
crazy.
get high.
Crazy.
Question number 2. What weird food combinations do you really enjoy that others don't get?
Oh, man. Mustard and barbecue sauce. Some people don't like mixing those too. I love doing it.
But what you put it on?
Everything. Salmon. When I was eating chicken back in the day, turkey. I would have that on everything. Eggs, turkey, bacon, all that, man. I ain't gonna lie. I put any and everything. Vegetables, smothered.
What type of barbecue sauce you talking about? Sweet Baby Ray's or?
Sweet Baby Ray's now. Sweet Baby Ray's wasn't out in Philly, so we used Heinz, because Heinz is heavy in Philadelphia or Pennsylvania altogether. They got, ketchup, mustard, relish, all that. But when I moved to the South, it was Sweet Baby Ray's. But Sweet Baby Ray's and like a honey mustard, fire.
Bro, I'm gonna try that, bro. And I'm gonna be
fire.
I like mustard like that.
Yeah, not the yellow mustard. Even the golden mustard or honey mustard mixed with the Baby Ray's, out of here. Out of here.
That. You know what is something that people are obsessed with that you just don't get? Question number 3.
Your internet broke up. You got that say it again.
Question number 3. What is something that people are obsessed with that you just don't get?
Ranch sauce. Let's keep it on the sauces. People are obsessed with ranch and cheese. I don't know what the big deal is. I don't like ranch. I don't like cheese. So I always like, what's the obsession? Like, people live and die by ranch. Like, I put barbecue sauce, they put ranch on everything. People can't have chicken wings without ranch.
Okay.
People dip Chick-fil-A fries in ranch.
Yeah. Well, I like the Chick-fil-A sauce, but that's a whole different topic. But
I see a mass amount, especially down here. Ranch sauce is rampant. I don't know what's going on.
So what do you dip your wings in? Nothing. You just.
I don't understand that. When I used to eat wings, I would get the flavor on them already. There'd be barbecue wings, hot wings, or like
it is what it
pepper.
It's no mix.
Yeah. Nah.
He said,
it's
I
got
don't
the
get
sauce on it already.
Hidden Valley.
Yeah. Not the Hidden Valley Ranch. No, sir.
I don't get the point to Hidden Valley.
Nah.
You know what, bro? I got a bonus question because, you're a true hustler. You're an entrepreneur. You take something out of nothing and turn it into something no matter what the cards give you. And so my bonus question to you is, and all the listeners know I ask this to the real entrepreneurs and hustlers, is if you had to go to a third world country, what would you sell and hustle to get back to America? And what third world country would you go to?
Spring water.
In which country?
That's tough. Johannesburg, Tokyo. Third world have to be somewhere down there by Costa Rica somewhere. But I just noticed just traveling, water is the only thing that is in common. People don't have it. You don't have pure water. Spring water is the best water. It keeps your body right. Ocean water is too much salt. I just would sell water because everybody needs water. Period.
Facts.
You know what I mean? So that's what I would sell. Jay-Z said we'll sell water to a well. I'll sell water to everybody.
You know what? I'm going to tell you what I tell people, and it's going to be the first time I say it on this show. I sell dirt to sand and make them jealous over mud, so I have them buy my water.
That's what's up.
So I feel everybody on their water terminology. How do you feel about pH levels of water? Just because we're talking about it.
I think it's chemically induced. So I only drink spring water. Spring water, water from the spring has natural pH balance in it for you to get right. All these waters like Essential and all that's chemically induced. It's all been purified. It's all been touched before, it reaches you. And I don't mess with any of those waters. It's going to be sometimes when people say, hey, you don't like Dasani? No, they put salt in Dasani. You know what I mean? All these waters are purified, reversed osmosis, all that. I just get natural spring water. There's times where I've gotten real natural spring water. So they got something down here called Lithia Springs, which is where all the water is from. And if you get Lithia Springs real water, it tastes terrible. It tastes like all the rocks, all the stuff that's in it. And it's not something I would drink every day. I would drink it maybe once a day. But for the most part, I'm drinking natural spring water, nothing in it, bro. And that's the best thing for you, in my opinion. You know,
bro, you fucked my head up because you was like, I'm not touching any stepped on water. That water is stepped on. It goes through a process. It's not the same as this real dope water that I'm drinking.
It's not. You know, Kentucky and New York has some of the purest regular water out the tap. And some of that shit has a lot of fucking particles and stuff in it. You know, all we need is somebody to say, hey, don't drink that type of water. It's going to give you COVID. And then everybody's going to run from the water. But natural water is good for you, man. Your body's made up of 82, 83% of water. You know, is your lungs and the rest of your organs. You know, water is I just learned this, buddy, by the way. I learned this 3 years ago, and I was juiced out, sodaed out. I was drinking water, but I was drinking Avion and fucking, you know what I'm saying, all these old extra 8.7 pH. It's all chemicals, man. It's all chemicals.
Gang. No, you definitely taught me some shit right now. I'm like, oh, I need to go check out some of that water in my fridge or something. It got chemicals in it. It's stepped on. I'm finna tell my wife, it's stepped on.
Yeah.
Real talk. That's crazy. So, man, you survived Impulse Q&A. You definitely passed everything with flying colors. You know, let me ask you this. What are you most excited for coming up? I know you coming off, you know, Generations Now, #1 album in the country. I mean, he put double disc. I mean, you guys have been killing it. I mean, what's popping, top 20, Billboard. I mean, everybody involved is definitely evolving. So, you know, I guess it's a 3-part question because everything you're doing is growing. So what are you most excited for? And what are you on the cusp of like, man, I can't wait till this come out?
Outside the music, well, let's start with the music. I'm excited to get Jack to a certain level. Seti Hendrix is a new artist that we signed from Jacksonville. I'm excited to get him started. We have some more artists that we're working on developing. I'm excited about that. One of the things I'm most excited about that I really haven't talked about is me and my fiance. We started an app. She came up, you know, being a freelance creative fashion designer and just helping creatives do certain things. Then one of the things she noticed is that most creatives struggle just getting jobs, just getting paid on time, getting things right. We started an app and it's going to come out in September. And this app is based on creatives getting jobs and getting paid really fast. So you'll be able to hire creatives on there and also be a creator. So if you're a photographer, videographer, you're a podcaster, you're DJ, you're a hairstylist, you're anything creative that you can think about. You know, there's apps like Thumbtack and Fiverr that dedicate to everybody getting a job. This is dedicated to creatives. I think it's the world is moving into an entrepreneur space where a lot of people aren't going to go to a job anymore. They can be working from home. It's the future. And I feel like remote jobs and in-person jobs creatively is going to spike soon when people just, you know, they don't want to deal with them getting furloughed from their job or something like that. They're just going to work for themselves. And I think this will be a platform for people to make money from and just consistently keep relationships on a Rolodex of things they need to do. You'll be able to post your job. You'll be able to talk about it. You'll be able to meet people. And it's going to be a safe place where it's a background check oriented app where you're on there, you know it's legit, you know it's not no bots trying to hire you or, you know, nobody's trying to pick you up and put you on Law and Order. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, bro, I ain't going to check for a job I never have to do and then send you half the money when I'm done.
Yeah,
Crazy.
yeah, we're just trying to create that. We're trying to create that space where it's like, hey, you go to sleep, you wake up at 10 o'clock in the morning, and you got 5 people that want to hire you, and then you're like, oh shit, jobs is coming to me.
Dope.
You know what I mean? Yeah, so that's what I'm most excited about. Hopefully in September we get to launch out, and you know, that's my thing on solving the issue with creatives. I know a lot of people, just even me coming as DJs, older DJs, still hitting me like, yo man, if you got anything out there that anybody need me to DJ for, you know, just random stuff like that. Just always playing in the back of my mind. I can't help them, but now I can with the app. You know what I mean?
No, that's powerful. Powerful.
Yeah. Yep.
You're going to keep people hungry and fed during the depression and the recession.
That's it.
Brilliant. And you know what? The most important thing is keeping the creative wheel going. The whole point of why I do this show is that I've been that kid and that adult that's, you know, has a cul-de-sac state of mind that got all these talents, but no one's around to push me, or I'm nowhere to get confirmation of, you know, me climbing this bridge to success and all your stuff you're talented in. And you get around people that are afraid of success, and you get afraid with them until, you know, you elevate where you're with, and you find opportunities that help you climb that ladder to over that bridge. And
that's right.
The whole point of this show is that, you know, everyone that's been on here has hit us some sort of success, and, you know, can tell the story of it and made the choice to find a way to get over it, remove the excuse and find a way.
That's right.
So, yeah, Brad, you know, before I close out, I do got to ask you this. What's your goal before you retire? You know, what's something you're trying to get done before you're like, I'm done with the music, I'm going to sit home and relax and travel the world?
I already traveled the world, relaxing. One thing I want to get done is to help myself understand all the stuff that I did, I don't have to do forever, like sleepless nights, eating bad, you know, and just the hustle and bustle. You know, success comes in many ways. I was taught by a mentor of mine, and everybody that works 24 hours, no sleep, 38 hours, like Diddy, no sleep, aren't always the only people successful. There's people that can work 15 hours and be successful. It's just different spaces. That's one. And then two, growing up, we talk about cops. I always thought that teachers were bad people, because when I went to school, they always taught us we were going to go to jail, we weren't going to make it past 21, that we weren't going to be shit. So I had like a lot of resentment on teachers. And, you know, everybody I met from 19 to 28 that went to school with me or just was around and told me they wouldn't be a teacher, I kind of shied away from them, like, yo, get away from me, you're toxic or whatever. I broke that later on, just being a mentor and a teacher by default. So, you know, soon I probably will want to, you know, hopefully our next venture would be, you know, later on when I'm 45, 46 years old, to start something where, you know, people can learn from a group of teachers. I don't know how I'll put it together, but, you know, I want to kind of dismiss that thought process of me hating teachers my whole life and, you know, putting it back into the era of positivity. You know what I mean?
You know, that's something a real sensei would do. He would clear it by making something to resent that whole thought.
Right.
Power.
Yep.
One last thing, Brad, before we're talking about music, because then I'm going to wrap it up. You know, what's your process to making beats, and you know, what's your process to just your creative side? Do you like watch a certain movie? Do you put it on silent while you do it? Are you playing games, or like, do you have a motivational speaker? What's the process like?
Inspiration for me comes from different places. It used to come from me just going out and going to sneaker stores and clothing stores and just seeing people's dreams come true. Like, you know, seeing Travis have Jordans, is like, wow, he's got a sneak. You know what I'm saying? Or certain people. But it comes from different ways for me. Like last night, watching The Last Dance, I was always a Charles Barkley fan. I was never really a Michael Jordan fan, but I thought Michael Jordan was pretty good. I just was a Charles Barkley fan. And watching The Last Dance made me realize that dude was one of probably arguably the best basketball player to ever play the game. And watching the last 2 episodes really gave me some inspiration to, And then I moved into Defiant Ones. I don't know if everybody's seeing, but it's a good thing to watch. It's Jimmy Iovine and Dr. Dre. And just watching their life and how parallel they ran together and how easy they made their life by being a tool or a vessel for people to grow off of instead of being a front runner all the time. And I think that's what happened with Michael Jordan. So I put the two together when Michael Jordan was a vessel. You know, he never wanted to be a role model and people dissed him for that, or he never spoke up on certain terms and had the whole spill about him, but did not look at or take into effect that he was actually a vessel for everybody to be inspired. Steve Kerr would have never been a coach if he didn't get those last shots. And he gave them hope. You know what I mean? We don't know that, you know, Steve Kerr sitting there, I was trying to be John Paxson. I didn't know I was going to have a job. He put the ball in his hands in those times that gave him the confidence to be ready. You know what I'm saying? He inspired Scottie Pippen to work more. You know, he was so disgruntled with the game. He pushed them through. People on other teams, like you seen last night, out of all the games and championships he won, nobody gave him no props. Karl Malone got on the bus and shook his hand after that whole ordeal, losing twice, and he still was a man enough to say, "Hey man, good game. I appreciate the game," or whatever. And he inspires so many people, even with Jordans today. It's like, you know, he's just inspiring. So I try to take away what I used to think about how much of an asshole, what person he is. I just saying that dude really loved basketball, and whether he liked it or not, he was a role model without being a role model. You know what I mean? He really inspired a lot of people through his word and his shit talking and all that. He really kind of, you know, so, you know, I got the inspiration from that and Last Dance and that. And normally it may be, it could be a book. It could be, you know, this right now, me talking to you and knowing your story about how, you know, some of the people that's watching the program, it's kind of like they're getting stuck because they need inspiration to push forward. You know, this is an inspiration for me to maybe make a beat or start something. You know what I mean? The inspirations come from anywhere, man. I see Tupac behind you. He's another person that I really didn't even like music-wise until these past 3 years, and really studying. Like, dude was dope as fuck. And, you know, for the whole time I was just East Coast ignorant. I was Jay-Z, Big, you know what I'm saying? I never really liked Pac until these last years. I've learned to appreciate what he did, you know, and I kind of, you know, you got another one, I kind of keep him close to Bob Marley. Those dudes was really like some martyrs, you know what I mean? So, you know, the inspiration comes from anywhere, you know what I mean? It's just creative. When you're creative, one spark, like a match, and you just start doing anything. You know what I'm saying?
Facts. And then it becomes a snowball effect. I know how to get this done. I can see it through, and then you see it through.
That's it.
So, man, if you notice, brother, this show's been, you know, like some of the others with some of the type of questions, but not the same way of being worded. I like being different. I like being unique. And like, how do I close out the show and keep him the same way I've had him the whole show? And I'm like, I got it. You got any questions for me?
Nah, man. I learned a lot just now. I learned a lot, man. And keep doing what you do, man. And inspire these kids, inspire the new people, man. It's more of them than people, us, that are strong enough to really go out and finish the day out being a closer. A lot of people don't know how to close, man. And that's just what we need to do. We just need to show people through action and not through words how to do this shit for real.
Real talk. But it takes moments like this where you take the action and take the time out today to sit down and talk to me and you know, shed the history, shed the light on some of the accomplishments and some of the obstacles you've had to overcome.
Facts.
Man, it's Contrast Uncut, Season 3, Episode 19. Man, I've had the pleasure and the honor of rocking with, you know, one of the greatest things to come out the East Coast, the South, because, you know, he came from Philly to Atlanta and just changed the wave and enhanced it. I'm talking about Don Cannon, everybody. I appreciate you coming on here, brother, and really just shedding the light on history and, you know, your way to success.
Word. No doubt. Thanks for having me. Yo, check it out, man. It's the #1 co-signer, Don Cannon. I'm definitely in here. Contrast Uncut with my boy, $1, man. Thanks for having me. It's a great experience, man. Bobby D, what's up, homie? We out here. You know how we doing, man. I'm coming back. I got more shit to talk about soon. You heard?
Hey, let's get it. Bruh.
From all deep, survival with a fitted shook ones that never reach. Survive a quiet storm, I guess the louder you could be. Or the freaky tide, we was lost boys, Mr. Cheeks, love. Feel like I'm the one, bum, skibbity bum. Quest love on a drum, from the roots of Black Thought. Are you bishop or you kill? On the roof for the juice, see how smooth. You got me reminiscing over you. I had that 1G regulate, mind playing tricks on me. Ghetto boys, better days, jump around, house of pain. Mama said knock you out, double L, Cool J. Time still ticking though, big clock, Flavor Flav. That's a public enemy, they see me coming up. Every verse I'm going flip mode, squad, bust a bus. Feel like pocket, keep your head up.
Man, I know you guys can't smell this right now, and I ain't talking about none of that other stuff. I'm talking about some of that good stuff, that smell good stuff. I think it's breakfast. What time is it? It's breakfast time. Make sure you tune in to Contrast Uncut no matter what you're doing. Whether you're eating breakfast, you're smelling good food like I'm smelling, or if you're smelling other stuff, we're good to watch too. Make sure you tune in. Thank you.